guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new IDontWorkHereLady content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
The first story is titled My Taxes Pay Your Salary. No, they do not. This happened 3 years ago, but my friend reminded me of it yesterday, so I thought I'd share. It was the middle of June, and my first weekend off in quite a long time. I'd been giving my friend a never-ending rain check of promising to teach her to fish. Our schedules finally line up. Weather's perfect, it's fishing time. We arrive at a local lake. It's the type where you don't need a fishing license, just a pass for the lake. Money goes to the city. We buy our passes from the concession stand and head back to my car to get the gear. I brought 3 setups, one for me, one for friend, one just in case. It's a really busy Saturday morning, lots of people. We do a mini hike across the lake to get to our spot and get to fishing. Friend learns quickly. We catch a few before the sun's all the way up. We're pumped how well the day is going and decide to take a lunch break when it starts to get hot. At about 11, we take the stuff back to my car, we chill eat/hydrate and head back. While we're walking back, a group of kids break away from their families to follow us around. They were all boys, 4 of them. 3 of them were probably around 8-11 years old, and the 4th is maybe 6. I'm thinking, they just want to watch us fish and they likely told their parents where they were going so I don't even think about it. We get back to our spot, but the kids are trying to follow us down the hill. The top of the hill has a trail. If you're careful, you can climb down to reach a small landing that's close to the water's edge. It was stressing me out watch these kids try and climb down, so I yell up to them a safer place for them to watch. Basically next to us, easier to get to. But there's a gap in between the landings. Once they got down, they decided to have a rock skipping contest. Not exactly polite to do that next to people fishing, but I let it go. Then these kids decide to have a jumping contest. They're jumping from their landing to our landing back and forth. There's only a 2-foot gap, but if they fell, they'd definitely get hurt. Friend is getting more stressed than me watching them, makes them promise her to be careful. They said what I probably would have said when I was their age, fion, whatever guys. The ringleader of the group, oldest, maybe 11, then asks me if they're allowed to fish. I ask them if they have a pass, stupid me. They say yes in unison. I tell them if you got a pass, you're good to go. Ringleader puts his hands on my fishing pole that I'm holding still and asks if he can use it. I pull away, signal Bud I'm using it. He picks up my just-in-case pole without asking and says, "What about this one?" "No, that's mine, and I don't want you hurting yourself with it, little brat." Gives me an attitude and shouts, "Well, what can I use?" I didn't even know what to say at first, but I pulled out Old Faithful. "Go ask your parents." It worked. They immediately left. About 20 minutes later, we hear a large group of people coming down the trail. It's the kids and their family, and the kids are whispering and pointing at me. Mostly just ringleader, a female a bit older than me, guessing mom, angrily makes her way over to the spot and lays into me. I don't remember everything, but the general consensus is that I'm ungrateful and I need to get shot, her words. Kids are still closed, so I decide to keep it PG. I also have a little issue with my hearing. If something is too loud, I can't usually make out the sound, like if you're yelling at me. I'm not gonna get every word. I explain I can't hear her when she raises her voice. She starts yelling louder. I'm getting nothing. Friend is mortified. I stare at her until there's a break and say, "Yeah, I didn't get a word of that." She almost starts to go off again when the husband/boyfriend/older brother shouts something at her in another language and she stops. Angry lady, "Did you tell these boys they couldn't fish?" Me? "No, I said just the opposite." She's stunned. "Al, why can't they fish then? They're allowed to fish at this lake." Me? "They can fish? They're absolutely allowed to fish here. They just can't use my stuff." Al, "Why not? Everyone else here is fishing. This lake is owned by the city." Me? "Yes, sure it is." Blank stares for way too long. Al, "You need to teach them to fish." Me? "Miss, I can't watch all of them. What if they hurt themselves?" Al, "Yes you are. My taxes pay your salary." Me? "No, they do not." Al, "Yes they do. I pay taxes and taxes pay for this lake. And they better not hurt themselves, because if they do." Me? "You think I work here?" More blank stares. Me? "Miss, I work at place I used to work. Doing thing I did while I was there? Even more blank stares. Me? I fix computers. I didn't, but it's easier to say that than explain what I really did. This poor lady looks so embarrassed as it clicks that I'm just a person fishing on their day off, but I don't even get an apology. No recognition that she was wrong. She just climbs back over to the rest of the family as they quietly speak amongst themselves, walking away in their shame. When they're finally out of sight, friend and I give each other the "what the duck just happened" look and break into the most beautiful 4 to 5 minute session of uncontrollable laughter I've ever had. The next story is titled "Sorry, I Can't Get You Into My Neighbor's House." My next door neighbors are selling their house and have a special lock on it that real estate agents can open with a passcode. One morning a car pulls into their driveway while I am watering my flowers on my porch. The agent gets out and tries the door, with no luck. She comes to me and asks me to open it. Edit. To walk from my porch to my neighbor's locked door, I would have to leave the porch, go down my garden path, go past my yard, go past 2 driveways, go past their front yard, and up their porch. It's not like I live in a duplex with their door next to mine. Agent, I can't open it. Can you open it? I thought I heard wrong because of how ludicrous her request was. Me, are you here to see the house? Agent, yes, so open it, there's a lock. Me, yes, there's a lock. Are you an agent? Agent, yes, so open the lock. Me, I don't live there. I live here. Agent, so why can't I open the lock? Me, your office should have given you a code. I don't have the code. I live here. Agent storms off to make an angry phone call in the car while her client sits there confused. The next story is titled "Lady Puts Your Hands on Me and Loses Everything." A bit over 10 years ago, I tore ligaments in my shoulder, but I couldn't afford to fix it, so just lived with it for 10 years. It was a bit unstable, but usually didn't hurt that much until a very rude woman walked up to me demanding I help her. Her attitude was typical of Karen seen in other stories here. Not realizing she mistook me for an employee, I told her she could go F/herself and turned away. The next thing I felt was an excruciating pain in my shoulder, the likes of which I hadn't felt in 10 years. My arm was dislocating and the ligaments, already torn, were ripping apart completely. No, to be fair, if my shoulder had been healthy, it would have handled the pulling the woman was doing to it, and she had no way of knowing my shoulder wasn't healthy. As it turned out, legally speaking, this doesn't matter. I'm not proud of what happened next. Even though everyone I was perfectly justified, I have an almost pathological prohibition against hitting a woman. But the fact my arm was literally being torn off overrode that prohibition, and before I could stop it, my fist smashed into her face hard enough to knock out 3 teeth, break her nose and 2 of my fingers. But it did stop her pulling on my arm. Frankly, I was horrified what I had done, but it was all caught on tape, so legally I was defending myself. She ended up being convicted of felony assault with grave bodily harm, got 5 years in prison, and lost her very good paying job, as that position could not be held by a convicted felon. Her husband left her, getting full custody of the kids and taking most of the money. That money she had left went mostly to me, paying to have my shoulder fixed. Last I heard, she was out of prison, working in a shop. Of course, when she chose to grab me, she had no idea how much damage she was about to do. But as I said, that doesn't matter. If you put your hands on someone, you become fully responsible for any damage you cause, even if you are just aggravating a pre-existing condition. That includes any damage the other person might cause in defending themselves. Frankly, I'm not even mad at her. Sure, she hurt me, but I don't think she deserved to have her entire life utterly destroyed. But as they say, life is rarely fair. The consequences of your choices can be far worse than what you expect and go far beyond what is fair. I really do hope she doesn't have to deal with too many entitled, rude people like herself. The next story is titled "I Don't Work Here, Lady. That's Why I Refuse Your Tip." Obligatory had happened a while back. Out with a friend eating dinner at a restaurant. Friday night, and it was quite packed. I excused myself to go to the loo. On the way back, a lady stopped me. "My dear, would you mind showing me the restrooms?" So I pointed her the way. She gripped my arm and asked if I could accompany her, as she's quite elderly with poor eyesight and sometimes lost her balance. I helped her throughout the process, down to assisting her in powdering her nose. She handed me a note, quite a good sum I would say, when we got out of the bathroom, to my utter confusion. Told her I didn't work there, was just being courteous by helping her out. Her face went red, she started apologizing profusely. I laughed, said it's all good, and took her back to her table. When I call for the check by end of the night, our server told us it has been taken care of by the elderly lady who's dining with her equally elderly husband. I swung by their table to thank her, and she gave me a hug. Yeah, lady, I don't work here, but that's okay. A little kindness never hurt anyone. Note to self, don't wear black blouse with black jeans to a restaurant where the server's uniform is an all-black ensemble. The next story is titled A Wild Karen Meets Her Match. For background, I am a police officer in Australia. I work in plain clothes. At work I wear a business shirt with tie, suit pants, and have my utility belt with gun, taser, pepper spray, and all other necessary accoutrements on the belt. I also have a police badge clipped to my belt and another police badge with my work ID around my neck. This incident also happened while coronavirus was spreading rapidly. Most business had been closed by government mandate. People have to ensure they are practicing social distancing, or they can be fined. The government hasn't mandated that people stay home, but have limited the number of people allowed in groups, no contact with strangers, and you should only out for work or essential supplies. It's also important to know that in Australia, members of the public cannot carry firearms in public, and it's difficult to get a license to even possess a firearm. A few days ago, I was at work and my partner needed to buy supplies from an office supply store nearby. The stuff at this store wear far blue polo shirts. We went to the store and my partner was getting everything she needed. I was waiting when I hear this screeching voice from behind me, "Where are the chargers?" I turn around and see this Karen standing there with her arms crossed, glaring at me. Now, let me remind you that I'm wearing all my work gear and a bright pink long-sleeve business shirt. I say to the Karen, I'm not sure where the Karen is not impressed and cuts me off, steps very close to me. Well, then I consider my personal space at the best of times, but when I'm at work, it's an offensive gesture. Karen then screeches, "You work here. How the hell do you not know where chargers are?" I look the Karen dead in the eye and with a stern voice say, "First thing, I don't work here. Second thing, I'm a police officer. I pointed my gun, taser, and badge. Third thing, you are currently breaching social distancing laws and can be fined. Step back now." The Karen quickly turned around and ran from the store. I'm just happy that actual staff didn't have to deal with her because she was rude from the start. I should have pointed out that a phone charger isn't an essential purchase. The next story is titled The Time I Accidentally Got a Job. This is the tale about how I got hired and promoted in a 2-hour period. So I'm a Kiwi New Zealander and was on my OE overseas experience in London. I was wandering the street and this guy was struggling with a pallet of beer, trying to get it into a music venue. So being the nice guy, I asked if he needed a hand. I don't know how far this guy had been hauling these beers, but it must have been a long way because he was sweating. So we get these beers into this empty venue and he asked me to help set up the bar, pointing out where he wants things set up. I think he just assumed I worked for him, but I'm 19 and hate confrontation, so I just say, yeah, sure. So I start putting the beers in the fridge and he says, "I'm off to take a shower, keep up the good work. So I've known you all of 20 minutes and you're trusting me, unsupervised with your bar/venue. Not when I signed up for when I offered to help you, but I have nothing planned, so duck it, I guess I work here now." So I keep setting up the bar for the show that night and the bar staff start showing up. They must have been temps and been used to staff changes because they just assumed that I was the bar manager because I was the only person in the place. So they introduced themselves and asked what they can do. Luckily, I'd worked in a bar before, so I start delegating. All this time, the owner is nowhere to be seen, but I'm enjoying my new manager role and just bemused by the whole situation. Finally, an hour since he left, he comes back and something must have clicked while he was away because he came up to me and said, "You're not one of my staff, are you?" "No, mate. Why did you help me?" "You look like you needed a hand with the pallet of beer." We had a bit of a laugh and he asked, "Do you like the specials? They are playing tonight and it's sold out, so stick around and enjoy." Oh, and turning to the actual bar staff, "This guy drinks for free tonight." The next story is titled Lady Expects Me to Take Her Cart, Gets Flipped Off. This happened a few months ago. To set the scene, I'm in the Costco parking lot and I've got my infant in a carrier strapped to my chest, so pretty obvious that I don't work here. I had just unloaded all of my bulk-sized goodies into the car and was returning my car to the corral because I'm not an animal. Along the way, I saw a stray cart, and since I had a free hand, I opted to return it to the corral as well. As I'm walking back to my car, some Karen 3 spaces away from the corral tries to flag me down. "Karen, wait there, I've only got a few more items to unload, and you can take my cart. Me? Nope. Didn't break my stride and kept on walking. Karen. What do you mean no? What's your name? I'm going to talk to your mana. At this point, I turn to walk backward, point to my baby, flip her a double bird, and turn back around so I wouldn't walk into a car. Karen's face turned bright red, and I thought she was going to have an aneurysm, but she didn't say anything else. Baby didn't wake up either. The next story is titled Grocery Store Karen Needs That Cart Wiped Down Now. Ever since COVID, I've been really careful going to the grocery store. Mask, gloves, full-length clothing, the works. Back in April-May, our local QFC used to have workers to spray and wipe down carts. But after a few months they stopped, and now there are self-serve wipes available for all customers to disinfect their cart if they want. Well, apparently some people didn't get the memo. Multiple times now, someone has mistaken me for an employee while I'm wiping my cart. Can you do this one next? Or are these clean? But then they look closer at me and apologize. Usually I brush it off with a laugh. Living in a predominantly white neighborhood as a postie gives you a thick skin. Until today. First, while I'm wiping down, there's a sudden yank on the cart and it hits my arm. I look up to see a middle-aged lady trying to pull away with my cart. Mask below her chin. Out of instinct, I grab the other side and pull back. This surprises her and she looks up, but doesn't let go. Me. Excuse me, what are you doing? K. No response. Yanks again. Me. Let go please, K. No more yanking, but doesn't let go either. After a 10-second staring contest. K. Whiny high-pitched. I need a clean cart, me. Then get one yourself, K. I'm in a hurry. Me. There are wipes right behind you. K. Long pause. Well, can't you clean another one? Me. I don't work here. K. Angry stare, not letting go. I need this one, now. At this point the cart is no longer clean, but damn it, it's the principle of the thing. Years of letting it go is also bubbling to the top now as I stare into the face of this entitled woman who has likely gotten her way all her life. Not this time. Me? Duck off lady. Step away from my cart and go get your own. And put that mask back on. She finally lets go by pushing the cart back towards me, grabs another one and loudly complains all the way into the store. Later I see her getting stopped by the manager and arguing about keeping her mask on. As a conflict-averse person, I felt really proud of standing my ground and had to post this here as soon as I got home. The next story is titled No, I Don't Work Here, but neither should you. Anyone who has ever shopped at Home Depot knows how hard it can be to find an employee to help you. If you do find one, that doesn't always mean they will know what they are talking about. I'm always at Home Depot picking up odds and ends that I've forgotten to order from the supply house for my job. I cannot believe the number of times I've overheard employees giving a customer wrong and sometimes dangerous information. For example, customer wants help hooking up his new hot tub. Orange-aproned idiot is explaining to customer how he just needs this standard, non-fused disconnect meant for air conditioners and some of that yellow wire. At this point, I had to step in. Me, sir, do you know what amperage your tub is rated at? Customer. Shuffles the papers he was smart enough to bring with him. This says 40 amp minimum, 50 amp max. Me, that's what I thought. If you use that yellow wire, the best you can hope for is that you'll constantly be tripping the circuit. At worst, you could burn down the house. I then direct him to the correct size wire and fuse disconnect and ask him if he has a permit for the electrical work. That's when Orange Apron, who has been following us and muttering, finally finds his voice. He doesn't need a permit. As a homeowner, he can do whatever he wants. Me? Yeah, no. In this state, even homeowners are required to get permits and inspections by the local authority having jurisdiction in this case. It's the City of Home Planning Department for all electrical work. Yeah? How would you know? Me? Looks down at shirt with electrical contractor I work for on it. Yeah, you're right. I've only been doing this for 20 years. What would I know? Turns back to customer. Look, you can listen to him if you want. It's your house and life. He's just trying to scare you into hiring him to do it for you. Me. Actually, I don't have the time for side jobs. And besides, I don't have a contractor's license, just a journeyman's. I can't pull permits. Have a nice day. As I'm walking away, the customer puts his items down and tells away that he won't be needing them after all. The next day, I get a call from my boss. It seems he received 2 phone calls that day. The first was from a manager at Home Depot who was complaining that I was poaching jobs in our store. After telling him what happened, he ended up calling them back and asking if it was their policy to endanger lives and property with incompetent advice. The second was from the customer, who now wanted someone from our company to come out and do it right. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and post some bear emojis in the comments.